Hey guys, how's it going? Eminem Gaming here, and today we're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the recent sales numbers coming out from CES 2017, the keynote, Sony's keynote in particular, and we're only really going to talk about PlayStation because, you know, I'm not a TV guy, so there's like new 4K TVs, which everyone seems to be hyped about, but I don't even want to start. I don't know what a teraflop is at this point, and I'm a gamer. I don't want to get into the whole TV realm. So, for me personally, I'm only really going to talk about the PlayStation 4. So, the official numbers have come out. The PlayStation 4 has sold over 53 million consoles worldwide. It's also sold through 6.2 million consoles during the holiday season. Now there's a little bit of a debate going on, as always. Everyone's got to argue about something. About the 53 number, we know the 6.2 is sold through, meaning it's in people's houses, but the 53, they just don't have anything, so you assume that it's shipped. I could be wrong, but it doesn't really matter because, like I said in my last video when I talked about 50 million and how that was sold through, it really is kind of much of a muchness. They don't overorder by a huge amount. They order to supply demand. So they're not just going to say, oh, what, you want to hit 53 million by the end of the year? Well, we'll order some. We're not going to sell them, but we'll order some. That's not how it works. So you've got to bear that in mind. But people like to argue about it, and that's completely fine. That's up to you. But yeah, that was pretty impressive numbers in my opinion. Very, very strong year for PlayStation, and that's really good to see. And I think I'd argue probably the most deserved year for PlayStation's huge lead. Now I'm a big PlayStation fan. I've definitely called them out on a lot of their stuff, particularly last gen. I think last gen Sony were cocky, they were arrogant. I didn't take pleasure in seeing somebody struggle, but I didn't certainly feel sorry for Sony last gen. They were very arrogant and, all that sort of stuff. So this gen, they completely turned it around, and you have to give it respect to Sony for that, because they focused on the gamer. They've not been as arrogant. Last gen it was the Sony PlayStation 3. Now it's just the PlayStation 3, and taking the corporate side out of it. And I really respect that out of PlayStation. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. I'm not sitting here and saying, it's the greatest thing that has ever happened to mankind is the PlayStation. All I'm saying is I think they really have turned around from last gen. And I think it's the first year I can absolutely say they've deserved this 2-to-1 lead. I think Xbox has definitely tried the last few years. The last 2 years, I think they definitely tried to keep up with PlayStation. But I think PlayStation is starting to pull away in quality games, as well as this pulled away in sales a long time ago. But I think they're really deserving that pull away now, simply because the games that they've got the games that are out. You've got an MLB game that Sony still seems to fund. They still fund really the biggest and only baseball game. So in the US, that is a big deal. Now, I couldn't care less about it. You know what I mean? I really couldn't care less about baseball because I live in the UK and I know nothing about baseball. However, it is a big deal in the US. You've got Ratchet and Clank, you've got Uncharted 4, you've got King of Fighters 14, you've got Street Fighter 5 as a console exclusive. There's a lot on the PlayStation at this current time in terms of games, but even beyond that, what they've shown this year has really impressed me. It's the most I've been impressed with Sony in a very, very long time. I think they had a very good E3 when they showed like God of War Ascension and also Last of Us in the same year. But I think the recent events have been absolutely superb, and I think they're really hitting a stride. They have a huge first-party lineup in terms of developers, and I think they're starting to click. It takes a few years to make games for new hardware, but I think it's starting to come together, and it's really exciting, at least in my opinion. The two events that they had, E3 was more of a let's show the games that the masses will enjoy. God of War, Horizon, Spider-Man, Days Gone, and I don't think, sorry, Uncharted wasn't shown there, but games that the masses are really going to enjoy, and even there is even a little fan service to the hardcore PlayStation audience with the announcement of the Crash trilogy. So I like what they're doing with that. On top of that, PSX, I love PSX, at least this year's one, because it was all fan service. There was some big games like The Last of Us was shown there, Horizon was shown there. There was a few big games shown there, but it was real like fan service for the hardcore PlayStation fans. You know, you go to E3 and you show Patapon, Loco Roco, and Parappa the Rapper, as well as Knack 2, you're probably going to get laughed off stage. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoy these games. I'm probably going to buy all 4 of them, but let's be honest here, it's not a game you show at E3. But what I like is, Patapon is not going to sell 100, you know, it's not going to sell 10 million copies. You know, Parappa the Rapper is not going to break records. Knack 2 is not going to sell massive gangbuster numbers. But what I enjoy, and particularly about PlayStation, is they have games that a small amount of people will enjoy. Couple 100,000, maybe a couple of million, if they're lucky, like just over 1 million, will enjoy. Knack 2, I know the first Knack sold well, but bear in mind it was a launch title, it came with the console. I'm not trying to disrespect it, but it, you know, got to factor that in. Also, I think, you know, with the plethora of games coming out, it's going to be a little bit overshadowed. So it may sell 1 million, it may just break over 1 million. But with all that being said, Sony could look at that and say, do you know what, it's going to cost us X amount to make the game, you know, we've got an engine, but it's not going to make us a ton of profit to actually put this game out. Most companies would say, do you know what, this JRPG that 10,000, 100,000 people are going to buy, we'll just leave it. It's not making us any money. But I think the gamers in general are starting to, at least me, appreciate that. You know, they're not just killing off these IPs left and right. They're, you know, keeping them alive, even if the sales aren't as great as maybe God of War or whatever. And I really do respect that about Sony, in my opinion anyway. They've got their big franchises that are going to make them money. Uncharted, like I say, Gran Turismo, God of War, all this sort of stuff. But then they've also we got to bear in mind, got the third party, which Battlefield and Call of Duty, FIFA, these are the big sellers, let's be real here. But yeah, in my opinion, I like the fact that Sony is really catering to its audience, giving games that, you know, the gamers want, the PlayStation gamers want. Maybe not the masses, but the PlayStation gamers enjoy, and I do respect that. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know yours down below. Now, finally, we're just going to talk briefly about this and, you know, compare it to other titles, and that is Uncharted 4: Thief's End selling 8.7 million copies in the space of 9 months. Very, very impressive. Now, the only other game I have numbers for, I believe, is The Last of Us on the PS3, and that sold 7 million in its first year. Now, bear in mind that's adding an extra 3 months onto Uncharted's life cycle, so it's got 3 months on Uncharted and has sold 1.7 million less. You might say, well, you know, there's 50 million PlayStation 4s, yada yada, but that is really, really impressive. Some people are trying to downplay it a bit. It is what it is, you know. But 8.7 million copies sold in 9 months is very, very impressive. It's outselling, like I said, The Last of Us by about 1.7 million, round figure. And bearing in mind, it's on a smaller install base than the PS3 was at the same time when The Last of Us came out. That is really, really impressive. So I think well deserved. I think it's the best Uncharted game. not better than The Last of Us. I'm going to say that. In my opinion, it's not better than The Last of Us. And yeah, I'm salty that The Last of Us has been outsold, but now all jokes aside, well deserved. I feel the best game this generation, in my opinion. Witcher 3's up there, but I do prefer Uncharted. It's just me. That's my opinion. But yeah, I think really impressive by Sony. Do you agree with me though? Do you agree that the console? Do you like how PlayStation's going about it? Giving you the big games, but also giving you the fan service and the new IPs. Would you like to see, you know, maybe some more older IPs reborn, like Resistance, SOCOM, Warhawk, you know, all these sort of games? Would you like to see these games come back, or would you rather Sony maybe focus on new IPs and all that sort of stuff? But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know yours down below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in a new video.